What is going on, guys? If you've not checked out the new Claude artifact system inside the Claude co-work tool, then you are massively missing out. This feature gives you the ability to create custom apps that live inside of your Claude app. It's absolutely crazy. So today I wanted to show you how I've basically created a fully fledged social listening dashboard using both Triggerfy, which is a social listening tool, and Claude. So first things first, we're going to head over to the Triggerfy app here, and we're going to click on the little tab here called listening. From there, we're going to go ahead and set up our searches. Now you've got a range of different socials that we can pick from and different options that we can do. So what you would do is you would go get, for example, your ex profile or whatever it is, and you would chuck that basically into here, and then you would just set up all of the searches, right? It's really, really simple to do. I don't think I need to go in and explain exactly how to do this, but we've got options from LinkedIn to Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, Hack and Use, podcast, Substack, Daily Dev. There's a lot of different things in here where you can monitor anytime your brand is being mentioned in one of these socials, or in fact, your competitors are being mentioned as well. So the really neat thing about Triggerfy is you have obviously the MCP and the CLI with skills. So what you're able to do, and I probably would go with the MCP route as it's a little bit easier for those who aren't super tech savvy, is you come into here and you basically follow the instructions to set up the Claude desktop app if you haven't already connected. And this essentially is going to mean that you can go ahead and you can pull the entirety of the searches that you set up, right? You can actually also set up the searches then through Claude if you wanted. So you can say, hey, go monitor my brand across XYZ socials, and that will then start monitoring on an ongoing basis, which then takes us on to the next part, which is creating the artifact inside of Claude's code. So here's the one I basically created, and I'm going to show you how we go about setting something up like this. But before I do, let's just go over what this is actually doing. So first of all, we have a cool little date range flicker up here. If you've obviously been setting up your search and monitoring things through Triggerfy for a while, you can then start to break it down via 24, 7, 30, 90 days. We also have all of the different socials in here. We're getting a nice little top line overview. So total number of mentions on the date range you're looking at, top platform, average engagement, and then the platforms that are active as well. Also have like this little list here of recent stuff, so I can go straight through to see any post as well. And this really kind of cool, like trending themes, right? So we're getting mentioned clearly a lot around, at least in the last 30 days anyway, around AI sales tools, UTM strategies, revenue growth, things like that as well. So how do we go and create these things? Well, first of all, ensure that you are in the co-work tab here. This only works from a co-work perspective. And then come and click on live artifacts. From there, you can actually browse like your connectors to see what you have connected. So in this case, we're going to use Triggerfy, but listen, this can be used for anything. Maybe we're creating an agent or something like that. That could be used for analyzing linear tickets or Gmail or emails coming in, right? So let's go back to the artifacts section here, and then we can build a new artifact. So we can actually use co-work, aka Claude, to help create a custom dashboard. So here you need to be pretty explicit. It's gonna ask you a lot of questions like, what do you want to build? How often do you want to pull on the APIs? It's gonna tell you, okay, what do you want to use? So in this case, you would say, I'm obviously want to use Triggerfy. And now it's gonna say, okay, hey, a live artifact is a self-contained HTML page. So it's like a little mini micro app, and it's going to start to ask me some questions here. So you would just follow along and basically answer it, and then it's going to go ahead and build it out with you. Now, one of the key things that I did here for mine is, if you go check out this one, so this is where I originally created mine. It asked me all of these questions. I then basically said, okay, hey, well, listen, what I'm wanting to do, I added a little bit more nuance here. I said, this is what I want. I want to have a report to show my total mentions combined. I'd also like some sentiment analysis and a breakdown on these trending themes. So this is what it originally created. You know, it's not bad, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like the feel of it. It also was, look, it was way too big. So you have to spend some time debugging with it. So you would say, okay, hey, the metrics for per platform breakdown too big. Can you go ahead and sort that out? The other thing that I did to get this like kind of really clean and crisp look is I said I want to use shad CN components as well inside of this page. So it updated to use that as well. So it basically can just pull from a design system where it's already kind of very proven and it looks great. And it looks a little just a bit crisper and cleaner as well. So you're going to have to spend some time chatting to it and kind of really getting the design perspective to what you want. The other question that it's going to ask you is, how often do you want to pull the data? And really what this is basically saying is like, how often do you want us to go and fetch new data from that API that you are connecting? And so you'll need to think about that as well, depending on if the API that you're using, you get charged per use. In this use case, Triggerfy, it's free to use the API and all you're doing is pulling the results. And so therefore, all it's doing every time you load the page is just going ahead and checking to see if there has been any new mentions in that day. And if there has, it pulls it through. So we can see here that it's pulled through one from today where we've already been mentioned. We had 22 mentions yesterday, including one on Reddit, which is interesting. A few little things that I might want to do is maybe I might want to make it a little bit more interactive. I think we've got quite a cool setup here up along the tops, but maybe I'd want to click into this graph and delve in a little bit deeper. So you can really customize and spend some time building these things out. Where I'm excited for this going forward is maybe you're building some internal apps. So things like hot leads, if people are signing up to your website, Google Analytics dashboards, so website visitors, maybe overlaying that data on top of things like social mentions, on top of newsletter performance, and creating this kind of command center from a marketing perspective. I think it's really interesting. We can also do that from a sales perspective, like what are the conversions, how is that looking? And you can give access here to the wider team depending on what plan you're on, because everyone then can have this artifact as well, right? Which I think is pretty cool. You can also download it. Here we've got the option to download it as like a static kind of report as well. So yeah, check it out.